What up, guys? It's Asian Anthony Fantano here, and today on this pilot episode of Knee Dull Drop, we're going to be reviewing aespa's third mini-album, My World. I really like their recent release, Hold On Tight, and how it's remixed the Tetris feel, and Savage is also one of my favorite mini-albums of all time, so I'm really excited to get to listen to this album track by track and give you guys a review of what it's like. The first song on this mini-album is Welcome to My World, featuring Novice, and it's my favorite song on this mini-album, and so I'm going to do a lot of gushing about it right now. The track opens with crickets, and this combined with the guitar gives us a really nice feel, some really nice imagery, right? And it feels really nostalgic to me. It almost feels like we're hanging on the city outskirts with aespa or Novice themselves. It gives me a vibe that's similar to Thimbleweed Park, if you've ever played that, the sort of vibe that you get while you're playing it. And the descending line guitar, electric guitar riff that goes like wah, 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 is so good. It like carries the entire song and provides a really satisfying punch to the song. What I also really like about this song is how well the transitions work. When the drums first come in, they come in when the girls are singing Welcome to My World. So they drop the title and suddenly the drums come in and it's super satisfying. And I also have to say, when the beat turns sort of trap-like after the first chorus, it's also a super groovy moment. The bridge of this song is functional, but it's not really like groundbreaking. I do really like the English lyrics they used here, how saying that their city is so pretty with your lights on. It really brings us into the song in a really heartfelt and emotional way. When the instrumental starts to take over and the girls are resorted to just singing da 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 dee da dum and sort of complementing the instrumental, it's really powerful, and the violin strings and the sparkle samples bring the last chorus into a very glorious scene. It feels very open, it feels very free, and the English lyric of "Only we own this city" also brings out this sort of freedom, this like we can do whatever we want to do sort of feel, and it ends the song in a very strong note, and ultimately is why it's my favorite song on the album. The second song on this mini-album is Spicy, which is also the title track of the song. The song opens with Karina, I think, saying "uh-oh," which is really sassy, and I really like how it opens the song off on a sort of ad-lib. The percussions are super piercing. When I was listening to this in the car with AirPods in, it like hurt my ears how piercing those percussions were, but it makes it so it's really in your face and really strong, and I think that's the mood that they were going for. And the mood that they're going for is also really accentuated by the synths, which are booming and also retro and fried too. There are some points where the synths are almost like cars revving, which really reminded me of Keep Your Head Up by Cherry Bullet, and I really like those revving car synths. Ultimately, all of that entire opening just makes the song feel really anthemic, feel really like girl power, that sort of vibe, and I dig that. The pre-chorus for this song has like this sort of synth build-up that is very, very cliche, but it gets the job done. What they really crushed, though, to make up for that pre-chorus, was the post-chorus, I think is what you would call it. I'm not too sure. It only happens after the first and third chorus, and it's this sort of drifting through hyperspace sort of synth progression, and it really gives us a sort of payoff, especially the bang, bang, machapa, that area gives us such a payoff that's really difficult when you have such a strong verse, such a in-your-face verse, to have a payoff at the very end, something that it builds up to. But what that post-chorus has done is really successful. I also really like the bridge. The descending synths have a sort of like breakdown feel where they're sort of like decomposing almost, and it's really satisfying because that's, the bridge is the area where we have to switch up the track a little bit, and I think that they did that really successfully. And I also like how unexpected the high note is. They enter into this oh, 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 and suddenly it's a high note. And that was super unexpected, but it's also a really creative way to stick in a high note at the very end. And so I think that they did that really well. And finally, when they end off with Karina, I think, saying for yeah, and she's got that vocal fry, matches the mood of the song perfectly. And I think that it ends it off very well. Starts it off with an ad-lib, ends it off with an ad-lib, kind of brings the whole package together. Spicy. Good track. Track 3 is Salty and Sweet, and it wasn't particularly my taste, but I really appreciated some of the production elements. The sample that pretty much carried the entire song was, I could only describe it as off-kilter. It was sort of strange, off-balance, yes, and it really reminded me of Monster by Red Velvet, and it shows SM's way of making these really strange samples that makes people somewhat uncomfortable, how they are able to morph it into really catchy songs. I feel like this falls into that same category. I'd also like to talk about that sort of sickly, almost like deflating, I don't know, bass. They complemented the entire feel, the mood, the sort of dank almost mood of the sample, and that pre-chorus just like contrasts completely with it, and that's what I really liked. The pre-chorus is my favorite part of the song, simply because it offers such a contrast. The layered vocals that the members have, how two members are singing at the same time during the pre-chorus, makes it almost like heavenly, which contrasts so deeply, and it makes the pre-chorus stand out from the rest of the song a lot. What I really didn't like about the chorus was that the chorus has a need to have the runs at the end of Sweet, because Sweet goes so high, the falsetto is so high that it doesn't give it closure. Like, it needs the runs at the end to give it closure, and it felt almost sort of incomplete to me. And it felt like a really sharp cutoff, and it was not too satisfying to listen to. I do really like in the second chorus when Winter has this little chant and she ends up with recipe, and it's really good. I honestly think that that's probably the most hook part of the song, even more than the salty and sweet part, simply because, it's a chant. It gets people going, right? In the second chorus, there's this part where you can really hear the synth buzz. Like, there's a really buzzy synth that travels through the second chorus, and it sort of pierces through and cuts through the rest of the instrumental, and I find that really, really satisfying. The bridge is very SM, and I'm trying to figure out why I say that. It reminds me of other SM bridges, and I think it's because there's this whirring sound in the back. It might be a synth, it might be a bass, I'm not too sure. Some sort of whirring sound, and it's very typical in SM tracks, and I think I needed this song to figure out that, wow, yes, it's there. And finally, I want to talk about the dance break. Also super off-kilter, super off-balance, but I think that it conveyed that sort of dank feel in a better way than the verses and the chorus did. I honestly think that the dance break, instrumental takeover, that section, was probably the best use of that really strange sample. So overall, a bit off of my taste, but the production aspects of it were really cool. Alright, so the fourth track on this mini album is Thirsty, and it's a very simple sort of pop song. It reminds me of Life's Too Short by aespa, and I think it's them, stepping it back, going back to pop's roots and keeping it simple, and it works as the concept, right? The chord progression is really familiar, reminds me of groups with more elegant concepts, sort of like Eyes One, that sort of field. It carries you through the verse, it works, right? And I think that it works is a good motto for the entirety of the song, because the transitions to the pre-chorus and the transitions to the chorus are both very overused within K-pop and pop songs in general, but they work. Like, they lead you through the song so well, and so I can't even complain about it, right? Because It might be cliche, but it does the job. And for the chorus, I thought they were saying Thursday for the first time I was listening to this because I wasn't looking at the song title, and I was like, what? Why Thursday? I liked how they sort of went more risque with the lyrics this time. The lyrics are, again, very simple, very poppy, but super catchy. So who can complain, right? Giselle's rap that has the, like, Taco Bell bell ring in it, it works. Like, that slaps. That part slaps. And also how the percussions hit at the perfect times during her rap. I think her rap is my favorite part of this song. The group singing during the bridge, having a bit of harmony during the bridge, a perfect way to mix it up a little bit and also make the bridge even more heavenly. Of course, that's the SM style, right? And finally, the end of the song with the vocal runs. The vocal runs are overused, and so I really would have preferred if they modified the instrumental in some way, because the instrumental was pretty constant for the entirety of the song. But overall, Thirsty. Very cool new sort of concept that they haven't tried before in terms of song theme. A pretty generic pop song, but nothing to complain about. The fifth track on this mini album is I'm Unhappy, which, as the title suggests, is a more melancholic sort of song that's, self-pitying, not particularly my taste, but, there's a mood for listening to this. I really liked how familiar the piano chord progression was. Also felt very sad, very moody. The pre-chorus's sliding bass was super up my alley. I love myself some sliding bass. And honestly, my second favorite part of the song. The whiny sort of vocals that sort of mark the chorus of the song are not particularly my taste. It's what makes me primarily averse to this song. But the rapping that happens after that sort of whiny vocal, it provides such good contrast. It's my favorite part of the song. Giselle absolutely rocked it. Holy cow. I've Got Trouble Healing is so good. It's so catchy. I love it. The high synths, the sort of shrieky sort of synths that mark the song from, I think, the second chorus afterwards, is a really good addition. Particularly because third choruses usually are best when they have modified the chorus in some way to end it off really strong, and providing that sort of contrasting pitch in the third chorus really ties it all together. The final track on the mini album is Till We Meet Again, which, since it's a last track, people would think it's a ballad, but it's not really a ballad. It's sort of a remix of a ballad, right? It's an adaptation of a ballad. I think that it's very similar to what they did with the Savage Money album with Lucid Dream at the very end, which is very clearly an emotional song that resembles a ballad, but really takes on a different genre, a different approach to it. And honestly, I really like that. I think it's really difficult to pull off a memorable ballad sometimes in the K-pop world when ballads are very, very common. And so, skirting around that to make a memorable finish is honestly sometimes a good idea. Now, talking about the track itself. Starting off with Saying Goodbye Now is so ironic, but it also sticks into your head from the contrast, right? That it starts the song off with saying goodbye, and I think that was really good lyricism on their part. The chord progression, the guitar, is super lighthearted, and it's really optimistic, and it sort of carries this hopeful tone that makes the goodbye that they're saying more cheerful, more saying that, this isn't the end, we're gonna meet again, The pre-chorus was functional, and I think the main reason that I don't remember it too much is because how much I love the chorus right after. The chorus was so powerful. The violins were there, and it sort of reminded me of G-Friend, and that sort of heard the early G-Friend, the concept that they had there. And it's super emotional, and the lyric, the music, how they repeat it twice, oh, that gets me in the feels. That gives you shivers. And after that, when they strip it all away and just leave the percussion, so powerful. What a way to end a chorus, right? To let it sink in almost after by leaving the next part blank for you to just sit and like the amazingness that you just sat through, you know? And the bridge is super pounding. The percussion makes it so that you want to like slam your fist down and like pound to the beat of the bridge, and it works. Slaps even. Finally, the key change at the very end just makes it even more heavenly. It ends this album in such a strong way, and it really makes me want to wait for the next comeback. You know, I feel empowered to wait. And just like that, we've reached the end of our My World review. No! But it's okay, because Welcome to My World, Until We Meet Again, are making it straight onto my playlist after I end this video. I was pleasantly surprised. I was floored by the production quality, of course, as always, of this mini album. I think it blew Girls' mini album out of the water. I do think that I still like Savage's mini album a little bit more, simply because I follow aespa mostly for the experimentation in song genre, as in within Savage, and experimentation with song structure, as seen in Next Level. And this mini album sort of played it on the safe side in both of those aspects, which, you know, it left me feeling like there was a bit more to be had, but again, all of the releases were super solid, the production was great, and the hooks were absolutely stellar. And so, as for rating, I think I give it a strong 6. I'm feeling a strong 6 for this album. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to Asian Anthony Fantano speak on aespa's newest album, and I hope you'll consider subscribing, checking out my other videos. Thank you so much for watching.